Hello and welcome back to Railroads Online. Today is going to be the building episode that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Um, and we're gonna start by redoing the we're gonna start by redoing the storage. And I've actually been thinking about that this last week, and we're gonna move it to the other side of the hill while we're working on modifying the actual hill itself. And we're going to take and put a special sort of sorting yard, switching yard in where the current storage is. And we've got a little bit of a train here that we're going to be messing with in this build episode today called the Inglebrook. Now, you'll notice that every single one of these cars has the same name. Okay? Every one of them's named the Inglebrook, and each one of these vans here, each one of these little box cars are numbered. Now, admittedly, I had a bit of a brain fart. This is supposed to be the Inglenook switching challenge train setup that we've got here, but like I said, I had a bit of a brain fart, so it's called the Inglebrook, and I think it's going to be just a little bit more fun, uh, lore-wise, anyway, for this series. This little guy is going to follow us everywhere, every map that we do. We're going to have one of these, and the reason we're going to have one of these is because in multiplayer, I need to know that the engineers are somewhat competent. We can't just have people throwing stuff around willy-nilly. Now, I say that jokingly, of course. This is a challenge, and we're not going to mess with these right now, okay? These little guys here, these are the dummy cars. These don't have any value at all. Um, but it's a challenge that we're going to be building in. We're going to be building the little switching yard over here where the current storage is. Now, I haven't liked this since I put it in, but I needed to fill this. I felt I needed to fill the space. Um, but I think an Inglenook challenge would be so much more valuable to this space than simply storage, which clearly we don't have enough room for. So we're going to move all the storage over here where it's nice and flat. We can get a long run of storage. We can put sightings over in this little alcove right over here, and we can put sightings in over here where we need to, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, it's going to look fairly similar to what we've got sitting over here in the inbound yard. It's going to be substantially larger than what we have here, which you can tell we just don't have the room for it. Um, but yeah, this little train is going to follow us around on every map. It's not going to be a main feature, um, but it will most certainly come into play in multiple episodes. Say I've got somebody in, multiplayer, and we do a running session, I decide to record, I'm going to have them start with this. We're going to see how they do. Just, probably just for fun. But for now, and I'm pretty sure you guys noticed when I was talking about Engelbrook and his little 8-car train that Eleanor is sitting over here in the caboose runaround. Well, admittedly, I had to do just a tiny bit of work um, before this episode. I went in and bought some more rolling stock and a couple of cabooses, but I had to put away the state car train. I've been running that offline or off camera for a couple of trips to get the rolling stock. Um, but Eleonora is going to be helping us out today once we get the storage put in. We're going to be moving all of the sorted consist over to the new storage yard, and we're going to clear out our inbound yard, mainly because we don't particularly need to have everything stored here when we have trains coming in and out in the long run. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to come just right over here. You'll notice we've got this, you've seen it in the last couple episodes where we've done the sorting. We've got this switch here coming off of the bypass for the hump, and it comes out a little ways. Well, my original idea was to have a three-way switch right here, but if I'm not mistaken, we're just going to drop one in, or make like we're going to drop one in. You can see that it doesn't quite reach, or it doesn't quite have the clearance. Now, that was the original idea. And the downside to that is that the single switch has the same issue. Okay, it's got the same clearance issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this three-way switch, and this single switch here, and we're going to convert it to a three-way switch. Now, ultimately, the throw, be it right hand or left hand, doesn't matter, but we're going to keep it right hand for now. And I'm going to go ahead and switch that. Let's just use the map here, it'd be easier. Maybe. It's nice that I'm standing right over it. There we go. And we're just going to leave that on center because we're not really going to need that too much until we go to move consist out. And we're going to actually go in, and I had a thought about this while I was running the log train and the cut lumber back and forth to build up the funds to get more rolling stock. And we're going to take out, we're not going to rearrange anything. We're just going to take the rock wall here out, and we're going to put in a trellised, or a walkway with a trellis on it. Good Lord, I know what I'm trying to say. A trellis with a walkway. Okay. So, that's not exactly what I wanted to do, but we'll make that work. So, we will do trellis bridge with a catwalk. Okay. And since we're just going to come up here, let's go into precision mode so we can do this. We're going to come over here, and we're going to do it this way, just like that. And you can see we've got our clearance, and we now have a walkway. So, what we can do, since we don't particularly need this walkway the whole way, is we can run the track. Let's see if we can do this. Yes, we can. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to come up to right about here, and I want to match it up. And that should be pretty close. I just want to match it up, get it more or less pretty close. I think 3% will be fine. Yeah. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to come in, and I know it doesn't look right now, but it will here in a second. See, it's not absolutely perfect, but we can't get it much closer than that. So we're going to come in here with our rock wall, and we're going to put that in right there. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to work backwards. So I'm going to go back in with my trellis with the walkway, or yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And we're going to put that in right there. And since we need to have the ability to walk quite a distance, we're going to take all of that out as well. And we're just going to go down the line a respectable distance and connect it up. Now, typically on a hump yard, that would all be that would all be solid, or it would be some sort of embankment or something like that. But what we're doing with the limitations of this game, um, that'll suffice. It's going to be plenty strong enough, and we won't have that much of an issue. Now, as far as this point right here, I am going to I'm going to continue on like this, but realistically, we shouldn't this need the walkway this far out. We shouldn't need it, but in case we do, we have it. Now, these abutments are kind of not really what I'm wanting to have, but perhaps there's a way to fix it. We can make that all one piece. So let's see. No, I don't think there is. So we'll just have to live with these abutments looking pretty odd. Unless we want to go in, which we could do. Think. Let's see. What have we got for props here? Signs, decorations. Platforms really wouldn't do us much good. Not seeing a whole lot that we could really utilize. We don't need any industries. When we go to build our Inglenook, we'll put it in under some cover. So we'll use some of these here to put it in. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think we've got anything that we could really utilize as far as that goes. So let's see what we can do here to make this look a little nicer. Eh. Maybe we can. Let's see. Let's see what we can do here. Because that's all. It's not all one piece down to there, but oops, nope, we can't do that. Okay. Well, it's ugly, but it will work. That's basically the gist of it. It's ugly, but it'll work. We need the walkway so we don't have to keep doing fly mode all the time. And that's about the right spot for us to be able to detach the cars and send them on down. So, you know, me personally, if I had been building this in real life, I wouldn't have this bulkhead here. But I understand why it's there in the game, and typically, you know, this would not be what these would be used for. They'd have some sort of embankment or something that they would be built onto, like over here. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and come over here, and I want to see what I can do about putting in switch somewhere in here that will allow us to um, access the storage from this side as well. So I think we're going to do this switch right here. And we're going to put in a three-way with a right-hand throw. Put that in right there. Where does it attach? Yeah, that works. Now I want to see, because I'm already seeing an issue right here. You see it's kind of digging into the dirt here, or digging into the map. So I want to see camera. And I want to see if we can avoid doing that. If not, um, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. If not, we will we'll find a different spot to put that switch. See how that looks. Yeah, that. I mean, it's not the greatest, but I've certainly done a lot worse. So we'll do that. We'll take the grade up a little bit. So we want our 1 meter ballast. 1.5. Let's try for 2. Doesn't need to be that long of a run up. 80. Let's do 120. There we go. Yeah, see that already looks a little bit better. Little disclaimer since I just heard it kick off. If you guys hear a faint buzzing in this episode or you hear a sudden thump, I've got my air conditioner turned on. Okay, my portable air conditioner. My house actually does not have working air conditioning. We've got to have window units and portable units all over the house. We haven't had working air conditioning for better than a decade now. Um, but that said, that's what that noise is. It's just my portable in my computer room here, um, kicking on or kicking off. Uh, this weekend we are forecasted in some parts of Kansas to be up over 100 degrees, and that is absolutely ridiculous for this time of year. It's not even the end of March yet, fellas. So, 100 degrees before spring is ridiculous. That's the kind of winter we've been having. We had 2 weeks, two whole weeks of um, freezing temperatures all winter, from the end of September all the way to now. We had 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks we had 2 foot of snow. That was it. That was the whole winter. Okay, so we've got that. We can move this. I'll move this sign a little later. Um, and yeah, I can just delete it entirely. So let's do that. Let's go to all on our delete menu here, get rid of it. And we will put a new sign in later, but we're going to leave this right here for now. I'm going to need to test it, which is why we're actually going to be moving stuff today in this episode. But I'm going to go ahead and I think what we want to do, because we need all the room we can get, and these are going to be roughly about the same length, I think, as the inbound is right now. They're going to be roughly about the same length. So what I think I want to do is have one bypass line that runs parallel with the hump, which is what we just started here. Okay, with this switch and with the one we just laid. We're going to have the one bypass line, and everything's going to come off of that. So what I need to do is, for the most part, figure out A, how I'm going to connect everything in, and B, um, get it done up in such a way as that we can still have the sightings coming out over in this area, and if need be, over in that area. We need a lot of storage. And to give you an example, okay, this boxcar rake right here, this boxcar rake is 20 cars long. This ore car rake, okay, this one here on the nearest line to us, is 30 cars, and you can see it just about fills up that siding, but it's taking up pretty much that entire line. So we need enough storage for, oh, 30 to 50 per siding that we have over here. So let's go ahead and get this first. Let's get this bypass line built up. So let's see if that's gonna work. Yikes. Okay, that's gonna be way too close. So let's see what we can do here. Think. Let's see. Let's do that. Put that there. And we'll give ourselves that level of clearance. That will work. Okay, that's going to give us our, basically what that's going to do is that's going to give us our clearance away from these abutments right here. So you can see we've got plenty of room now. And we don't really have to worry too much about, that rock's going to be in the way. So let's get rid of that. We don't really have to worry too much about our placement right now because of where that other switch is. We're gonna have to curve in to get that anyway. So let's go ahead and lay this down. I had to get rid of that rock before it became a problem because I don't know if it will camera if it will cause a derailment while it's underneath everything or not. I don't particularly have to worry about these guys here, these little rocks here, but I'm going to get rid of that one just for aesthetic's sake. Do those other two. Oops. Camera. There we go. Okay. So this bypass line it's really more of a it's not really meant to act as a siding in and of itself. Let's see if I can straighten this out at all. Because we actually do need to start putting switches in here. And we can, okay. Now, let's see. We want a right-hand switch with a right-hand throw. And hopefully, see if we can do that again. We cannot. So what we're going to do is we are going to take and level everything off. There we go. So that'll give us a little bit. Yeah. There. Okay. So we're going to get rid of that one. We needed to level this track off here real quick so that we could actually run these without burying them. So that's going to be kind of a useless space right there, dead space, as it were. And it's starting to get to the point where it's getting too dark to see. So let's get rid of that. It's going to be level, I think. Let's see. Right-hand switch, right-hand throw. Boom. And it buries itself. All right, so I will get this figured out when the sun comes back up. And for now, though, I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back, and I did manage to get it figured out, and also remembered to adjust the day-night cycle time settings. Yeah, what I was saying is the bypass line just, it gives us a way to navigate around the yard without compromising any of the sidings or the switches therein. So we're going to go ahead and run this one out. We're going to get this as far over as we can. It's not going to be the most efficient use of space. I would like to have it um, kind of conform to the size of the shape of the hump, but that's not really entirely necessary, and we can make things work without doing that. So let's see how this works here, because we're going to have to see what that looks like. I want to bring it around here real quick. Uh-huh, okay. So that's not going to work there. I'm going to straighten that back out. Whoops. I'm actually going to straighten that back out, and we are going to see where these two intersect, and that's how we're going to manage our curve. So we need a decent curve here, one that's not too terribly sharp. So we want to go to right about there, I think. That should be a decent length for this one. And when I'm saying right about there, I'm talking this side, not the far side. The reason I did that is just to be able to lay it down without an issue. So we're going to put that right there. Get rid of that one. And that one. And that should give us a bank of at least 4 switches that we can work with. Maybe a couple of more if we're lucky. Oops. Right there. That's what we want. All right, camera. So let's see where these meet up. Respectable curve. And we will do that. Camera. So we've got these two lines right here. That's no problem. We are going to leave that one switch in over there, and we're going to use that to put in some sidings over here. Now we want all of these sidings to be as long as possible. All right. So right now, they are going to be, at the very least, double the distance of the inbound. So it's going to be the inbound plus the inbound at the very least. If we can get any more room, that'd be great. That would be fantastic. Um, for now, in terms of our in terms of our yeah our sightings, what I want to do, we've got these 3 lines. We can have these. We've got the bypass line and we've got 2 extras. So that'd be okay if we wanted to start building trains over here and take them down to the outbound. Okay, that'd be perfectly fine. We could use both of these sidings as, we go 4 building trains. They're not as long as the inbound. In fact, they're so what I want to do is I want to come down here to it doesn't matter which one I use, but I want the straightaway. All right, so that was fun. I managed to hit all of the wrong keys at once. Um, but as I was saying, what I want to do is take our straight length of track here. We don't need it to exactly line up. with everything else. We just need it to be roughly in the right area. And we want to, thank you. We want to see where we can end up with these switches. So let's go ahead and lay that there. That's going to be our first sighting. So what I'm going to do, instead of running a straight piece of track and just guessing where the site or where the switch is going to end up, I'm going to lay down switches to see where everything matches up. And these are just dummy switches. They're going to disappear here in a minute anyway. So we can just go ahead and lay them down. And that's going to be roughly where our um, first switch goes, is actually the second switch in, because that's going to give us the shallowest curve. So let's get rid of that, rid of that. And this is sitting right on the throw here. This is a left-hand throw, so we can actually keep that one. There we go. So I want my 1 meter ballast here, and we're just going to run up right to that switch. We can go ahead and keep that one in. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a few more switches and see where we end up, because we're going to have to redo our curve every time until we get to that straightaway. So I want a left-hand switch with a right-hand throw. We're actually going to swap throws on this because we're going in the same direction we need the clearance. You can see it kind of crosses over the line right there. If we were to try and connect that, it would cause all sorts of problems. I don't know if collision on that's a real thing in this game. I've not wanted to really try, but I would rather not take that risk. So, yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks. 5, 6, and let's try for 8. So 7, and yeah, we'll get 8. 8 will be our last one here. And I think, yeah, that's going to be pretty dang close. We may actually have a problem here. So we will see what we can do. And the reason we've got this one straightaway right here, like I said, we're not going to really try and get it too close. It's actually pretty close as it is we want these all to be pretty much in line with everything. And right now it's not really perfect. I'm going to see where we end up and how far over we need to come in order to make everything work right, work the way I want it to. But for right now, let's go ahead before the sun sets here and lay down one curve and see how it looks. So this is just going to be the starting curve here. We're going to start with that and work our way around. So you can see it's already different from these 3 lines over here. And that's perfectly okay. For what we're doing with these being dead sightings, that'll be perfectly fine. All right, so I will be right back once the sun comes back up, and we will carry on. Okay, we are back. It's still a little bit too dark to see exactly what we're doing, but basically all I want to do, just right here to start, is, as soon as I can find it, there it is, just run a straight stretch out as far as we can reach, see where we end up, see how much further over we need to end up coming. So it looks like we've got one. We've got one track width, basically, one switch one switch's width that we need to come over. So let's see. We've got, looks like it's going to be this switch right here that we can do this. So I am going to mark this one just like that. We're not going to worry about that right now. And what we're going to do is, I think, yeah, we're going to run these. We're going to run these first two just as far as we can. Okay. So I'm going to come over here, run this back out. We're going to run this as far as we can over. So probably right about here. Let's lay down our, whoops, our bumper stop right there. And you can see it's kind of floating above the ground at the moment. We'll take care of that in a little bit. Want to get our track to be all one piece, so take that. That's good enough, I suppose. That's our curve, so we want to come out here like this and run straight through the trees and on down over here so that we've got one continuous piece. So if we decide to take that out, it'll just be less work. That's why I try to do that. I like it that way for that reason. So let's go ahead and put our ballast in so that that's not floating, and we'll run another one. So that should give us plenty of room to work our, and you can see we've already got a problem here. So gotta love having to figure this stuff out on the fly, huh? Oh, mercy. Let's see, is there a way that we could do this to where it would look a little better? Not really. Because they're all going straight. Well, okay, hold on a minute. Because I think what we can do is we can actually run these straight. So we need to get rid of that. Yeah, we can run these straight for a little ways and then curve them around. So there we go. So I'm actually going to put in, I'm going to take this section and right here out, and I'm going to put in a dummy switch. It's only there temporarily. And we're going to put that one in, preferably connecting it first. Yeah, that worked nicely, didn't it? Whoops. There we go. And we're going to put this in like so to get our curvature correctly. We want our distance to be right. We don't care about anything else. So this is a dummy switch as well. So we're going to take this switch back out. We're going to put that curve that we had, that we just put in, or just took out, we're going to put that back in just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and we're going to put in 1 meter ballast, straight track as far back as we can. These are, since these are storage, I'm not going to worry so much about keeping them all in line with each other. I mean, we've got to work with the contour of the map at this point. So I'm going to try and get as many of them in line as I can. So let's go ahead and take that out. And we're going to take this back out because now we've got our ability to run a, preferably connect it before you click. There we go. Run a single piece of straight track all the way down. All the way down. As far as we need to get it to connect. And like I said, that is easily, you can zoom all the way out here, that is easily the inbound plus the inbound. So double the length of the inbound because we have the curve to contend with. So that's what we're going for in the long run. So we've got our 3 tracks here, our 3 sightings, and we're going to try. Okay, you can see they're fairly substantial, they're fairly long. We're going to have immense amounts of storage once this is done. We've got these 2 little runarounds over here, which are, that's fine. And we've got these 3 tracks right here. Now, what I could do, seeing as this section right here is the same length as these 2 switches, all right, seeing as it's the same length, I could take this out and I could put 2 more sightings right in here and bring everything right in line. So since all we're doing is getting rid of the straight piece here, let's go ahead and try that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not a big deal. So we want a left-hand switch with a left-hand throw. And we're going to put that in right there. And we're going to put, oh, hey, look at that. We've got a problem already. We do not have the clearance on either side of this next switch. So, guess what? It doesn't work. So, we didn't lose anything. We could probably put 1 in, but I'm not going to. It's just not worth it. So, let's go ahead and, I mean, we've got more than enough. We've got more than enough here to make that happen. And if we really wanted to, I could take and build out, I could put in another switch right here on this straight section and build out around, but I don't want to do that either. So we're going to take, and I think since we've got those 3, we are actually going to utilize this one switch right here. Okay, we're going to bring another switch off of it. So we're going to do one of these numbers here. So we're going to do something similar to that, which will be actually pretty well ideal, I think. And we're going to bring a couple of switches off of that to bring it closer over here. We're going to try and keep these all pretty close in line. So let's see what we can do here. So we want left-hand switch with a right-hand. Well, no, we can't do that. We want a left-hand switch with a left-hand throw. Let's put that right there. And then, yeah, that's gonna work perfectly. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna swap around to a right-hand switch again with a left-hand throw, and we're gonna put that right there. No, we're not, because we need that to go closer. So let's try left-hand switch with a left-hand throw one more time, and then our right-hand switch with a left-hand throw. Let's, yeah, that's just going to be, well, I say left-hand throw. That's going to be just for, well, yeah, maybe not. Maybe we can make that work. Let's see, is that going to, yeah, that's going to be just a bit too close for my liking. Yeah, that's going to be just a bit too close for my liking. So we will go ahead and use that. We need to reverse. We actually do need to reverse that, but I need to figure out how we're going to do this real quick. So we've got our straight one here. Let's see what we can do. Left hand switch, right hand throw, like that. That may or may not work. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's see. We're going to lose the light here real quick, but I want to see if that'll... Hey, would you look at that? It's almost perfect. It's not quite there, but it's close enough. All right. So when it gets light out again, I will catch up with you guys and we will see what we've got, because I'm going to have to run that piece specifically by itself. So I will be right back. Alrighty, I am back, and that actually ended up not working. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going back in and putting a single switch back in, and we're going to come off of this switch and run it like a three-way, but not quite a three-way. So there we go. That's the solution. That's what's going to end up working better. Um, Clearance was an issue, so we're going to go back in here with our left-hand switch, right-hand throw, and we're going to do that number for a while. We're going to see where we end up, and we should be able to actually go in and um, straighten everything up and space these all out better. Um, once we get everything to work right. So I'm going to try that now. And that should actually, yeah. See, we can do that number and get everything lined up better um, here in a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave that switch right there so we can do that. But that's just a dummy switch. We're not going to be using that. Okay. So, provided I didn't miss anything, that should take everything out. We should be good. That brings everything a little bit closer. We can get just a little bit more sightings, a few more sightings in. We're going to take this little rock out. We'll get the bigger ones here in a little bit. So let's see. We're not even going to worry about copy paste at this point. We know we're straight now. Let's come back to right about here. Put our bumper stop in. And you can see it's roughly in line. Now what sucks about this is that we've got this little bit of a gap left, but we may be able to fix that in a little bit. I may fix that offline. It just depends. That was too much. Let's try that again. Yeah, I may be able to fix that offline. It just depends on, how much time we have here. Since I ended up screwing up and hitting multiple buttons, I've got at least another hour of recording that I can do on this video versus typical 3 hours length. So, go down. With that said, I'm not gonna take that extra hour. I'm gonna try and make everything work because I don't particularly like spending 6, 8, 10 hours a day editing these videos. And that's usually about what it takes. It takes, for a 2.5 hour video, it takes at least 4 hours to edit. At the minimum, 4 hours. So you stop and think. I'm recording now what I think will be a 3.5 hour recording, maybe even a 4 hour recording. And I'm looking at the potential for, a whole day's worth of editing to do, because I've got to stop and pause it every few minutes. Copy, or not copy, but cut and paste, or cut and add in all the commentary and everything. So yeah, it's one of those deals where I really don't want to spend all day editing this, because I do plan to bring in a I do plan to bring in another game this weekend. And if you guys have been up on your railway news, you know exactly what that game is. So it helps if I hit the right buttons. We want a left-hand switch, the right-hand throw. We're just going to keep running these until we run out of room in that little area and see how far we get. So I want to do 2. Let's try for 3 here. So that'll give us 6 total. So there we go. And that was our 1 meter ballast. And I've said this a couple of times already, I think in the ATS series, and definitely in this series. This is rapid. This channel's rapidly turning into a transportation themed channel. More specifically, the railroading aspect, considering the amount of views that I've gotten on ATS recently. So I think that me bringing in that other game will be it'll be perfectly fine on this channel. I don't know if I'll get any views, but we'll see. So I'm basically just jumping back and forth, doing exactly the same thing over and over and over again. We got our 1 meter ballast, our bumper stop, and our 1 meter ballast embankment, which is basically just a pile of rock. And we've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we've got room enough for 1 more, I think. And I'll take care of the big rocks later. So we may get 7 over here. That's kind of an odd number for me, but that's one of those ones that I'm okay with. We may just leave it at 6. I'd prefer it if it were at 7 or 8. Well, we may be able to get 8. That looks like it might be a possibility. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to get 8, guys. I think we will be able to. So let's go ahead and do that. And like I said, it's just the same thing over and over. So that's why I'm not commentating exactly what I'm doing, because it's kind of obvious what I'm doing. It's the same thing over and over. So we want another left-hand switch. And I think we're going to put one last one in right here, just for a curve on the next line, if we have the room over here to do it. And I think we will. I don't think we're going to get 10. I don't think that's going to be a possibility. But I'm looking at this now and I'm seeing all this extra space that we've got here lined up. And I'm not seeing any issues getting any length of consist in here. So, I've said that a couple of times in this series. Specifically, last season we were initially building the yard, and we found out since then with all the additions that we just don't have enough room for everything. But I think with these storage sightings being much longer than even the outbound on the northbound side, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll have plenty of room. So, and we're more than likely going to add in a few more, but I don't think that we need them. We've got these three, so six, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we can get this better spaced, we may have 12. But we're going to put this last one in. We're going to see where we're at. That'll give us 11 sightings total for now, which is already more than we need. Because if I'm not mistaken, in my notes, yeah, that's going to be our last one for this. In my notes, we've only got a certain number of concepts that we actually need. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so we've got more than enough storage at this point uh for that. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. So if we were to get these lined up better and shortened up to match these 8, we could probably get in another one and have 12. So we'll see how that works. We'll see what we can do there. And I think that that would be entirely doable. So yeah, I think that'll be entirely doable. So let's see what we can do to get these a little bit better lined up. So we're going to come off of here. And I think instead of having the switches back here, because that seemed to cause no end of problems, we're actually going to come off of this line right here. And we are in fact going to give ourselves another 3-way switch right here. So we're going to do that number, and that'll be all right. And then we're going to come over here with a left hand, I think. I gotta turn myself around backwards here, see what direction we're facing. Yeah, we want a left hand. We're just going to give this here for our curve. Check our clearance. Yeah, okay. So that will work. We want a right hand, or right hand, left hand. And that will put us in perfect that'll put us at a perfect distance. So we're going to put this third one in right here. We'll see where we end up. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this all taken out, and I'll do that in a break here. And when I get that done and we figure out what all we need, I will be back and we'll go ahead and work on it. Okay, I am back, and I don't know what we might actually end up moving these 3 through lines here uh, to better facilitate the rest of the line. We're kind of at a point where we can jockey things around a little bit, because we have our yard over here that we're perfectly good with. And if we were to jockey these around a little bit, we could actually put a bypass line in. Um, we would actually be able to put a bypass line into where we could run on these switches, and we wouldn't even really need to worry about being down here and connecting in. We could actually come up and run another stop line back there, or another reversing spur back there to get into our sorting yard. But having said that, I don't think that'll work anyway. But we can probably jockey these 3 through lines around if we even need one or need them. We could just run our bypass along these switches and not have to worry about it. But we're going to go ahead and start putting these in here as the sun goes down, and I will keep going on through the build or through the night to get these finished. So I've got the setting for the night cycle down to 1 minute, so it shouldn't be too very long when the sun finally does go down. But I'm just basically doing exactly the same thing: 1 meter ballast, and the bumper stop, and then the 1 meter embankment, and going out so that it covers the corner that's right there for the unballasted section of the track. And you can see with the sun going down, we were rapidly losing our light in this little area right here. But that's okay. It's not gonna do too much to us right away. But we'll see how far I get before the sun goes down. Hopefully we can get all 3 of these lines put in before that happens. I don't think we will, but if that's the case, I will cut and be back when the sun comes back up so that we can actually see what we're doing. For now, I'm just going to keep putting stuff in, and yeah, I think we might, just as the sun goes down, be able to get this all put in. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have to break here because it's getting to the point where I can't see anything, and if I can't see anything, I know you guys can't. Whoa, too far. All right, I will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and lay this last bit down, see where we are. Alrighty, I am back, and we were able to get one more siding in there. So now we have this giant block of rail lines. We don't need any more than that. We absolutely do not need any more than that. I don't see a single reason why we would need more than that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 lines. So that all worked out. We're going to go ahead and start removing trees and rocks. I'm not going to mess with this again. I think we're golden as far as far as the amount of storage that we have. I don't think we're ever going to need any more on this line. So when I get these trees knocked out, we will go ahead and make our proper curves here instead of having these dead switches. And we're going to get the rocks and everything taken out as well. Helps if I can hit it. Good. So I'm just going to go up and down the line here real quick. There's no rhyme or reason to it other than that for what I'm doing right now. So, yeah. Just basically going to go back and forth. If I see something, I'll take it out. Those rocks, when they come out, they make exactly the same sound as the trees, which makes me wonder, do the rocks sound like the trees, or do the trees sound like the rocks? So it looks like we've got everything cut out of here. I'll work on over there in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put our proper curves in. So it's just our 1 meter ballast like always, unless we're on a hill where we've got to have the deeper ballast. I want to try and keep it as shallow as possible here. So there's our proper curves. So our storage yard is done. Now what I can do, and it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all, is I can come over here and I can run just the bypass line, get rid of these runarounds here, these 2 extra runarounds. I can get rid of those and run just the bypass line over to our storage facility. Now that kind of wastes a little bit of space, but at the same time, I'm really not too terribly bothered by that, specifically because we do not need these runarounds. And we don't need the extra space. We just need the storage. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. I don't think we're going to need them at all. And what we will do is we'll run a parallel line over along the we'll break this switch back out and we'll run a straight line to the runaround or to the bypass. And we will bring it back in to this this line right here, which I will fix in a little bit. But for now, I want to leave that right there so that we have our we want our right hand switch with a left hand throw, boom, just like that. And we're going to go in immediately with a, yeah, we want just a dummy switch. So boom, just like that. All right. So we'll leave that there for now. Yeah, I forgot entirely what I was going to say. Yeah, we don't need those runarounds at all. I don't think that's entirely necessary. We've got stupid amounts of room here now for storing cars. And in fact, and I'm not going to take them out because we really don't need to. I mean, we've got a stupid amount for storing any number of consists, so that will be perfectly acceptable for what we're doing. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to run straight section to about here. And I'm going to see what it's going to take to bring it over. And I'm back down to the 1 again because I forgot to reset it. There we go. Okay, so it's not going to work. So what I want to do over here, and do this number. We're going to curve it back around. Now that's going to give it a little bit of a nice gentle curve. Hey, that looked like it lined up pretty good. That's going to give it a little bit of a gentle curve, a little bit of a sweep to it, but that's okay. That's kind of what we want. Let's see something here. No, I don't think I want to do that. All right. So, what I was gonna say is I want to put another switch in here and do some runarounds, but I really don't want to do that. I don't think it's necessary. I think we'll be fine just like that. And that's god awful plenty of storage. Plus we've got our runaround that we don't even have to take them into the in through the inbound. So we can run that. That's perfectly acceptable. We don't have to take them through the inbound to get them to the outbound in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to take this one out. And the rock, I meant the tree first, but I clicked on the rock apparently. Okay, so how do I want to do this? So we've got to fix this in such a way as we can get up over this hill. Now I know I had it before, but we're going to try and keep at least a little bit of a straighter section here. We're going to have to curve it just to keep it out of the hill as much as possible. So let's bring it around or back around. Straighten it up actually. Let's just do 1% because we don't need a massive drop unless we do. Good Lord. All right. Let's do that. And okay. There we go. All right. So that'll work. And we can bring this around to connect it up. Now that's not the best. And in fact, we can actually make it better. So let's do that. Because we are here now, we can actually make it a much smoother curve. I think. I think we can. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So I think we're going to call that good. I'm not going to put the Inglenook testing yard in this area. It's too small. Or, well, it's probably about the right size, but we're already fighting with that little hill over there. And I really don't see the need to do that. So we can actually we're gonna take this bit of storage out. We're gonna put it in right here. And it's gonna be a lot smaller than what we've got here. So I think it'll be fine. And it's gonna be well enough out of the way that we can make it work. So that's not gonna be too much of a problem. And I suppose that knocking all these trees out over here isn't too bad of a problem since we've got the forest over there that we're running through. So let's go ahead and grab Eleonora and do I have it? Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and grab Eleonora and get the stake cars and the flat cars put into storage proper so we can knock all that out and not have to just re-rail everything. And then we'll go in and move Inglebrook and all of his little cars over to where they need to be. So let's go ahead and reverse all the way to the end of the bypass. Yep, I did not think about that. I did not realize we were in the sidings. So we're gonna go back forward a little bit. I forgot that I set those switches so that they would be closed. Like an idiot, but we all know I'm an idiot, so it works. I'm not too terribly worried about how fast I'm moving through the yard at the moment. As long as I don't derail and cause a massive problem. Which would have happened if I'd kept on going backward on that line. So, I think if I'm lucky here, which I'm not. I didn't set that switch. Good thing I stopped, huh? We're going to have to figure that one out. We're definitely going to have to learn that. So that is assuming, of course, that this this particular portion of the line I can actually roll over without derailing the locomotive. I hope we can, because I would hate to have to lay down another bit of track just to go around that little bitty hill. Oops, go the right direction. Alright, so we want to just crawl over this, because if we go slow enough, it should derail if it's going to. I mean, you saw what, if you watch the video, you saw what happened at the forestry. Okay, looks like it'll be fine. That's good. Fantastic. Alright, so we actually, I wanted to test that. We actually need to go and grab those cars. So that's a good sign. The hitbox on that is done up the right way. There goes our safety valve. That's awesome. Alright. Switch there. Switch there. Switch there. And we're going to go in with that and that first. And those two next. Yep. That looks right. So let's go pick up the stake cars first. And actually, we want to grab that one first. Just like we did when we were picking up the cars out of the sorting yard. So that we save just a tiny bit of time. Not much, but a tiny bit. Bonk. Okay. Back and grab these. This longer rake here, and then take them and put them into a siding. And I don't know where exactly we're going to put them as of yet, but the only ones we're going to be moving today are these. This isn't really a running session. It's just we need to get the stake cars and the flat cars out of these sidings so that we can get rid of these sidings. stop right there or thereabouts. Pick these guys up. Oops, go the right direction. And if we're lucky, everything will fit in where it belongs. So that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Okay, bonk. We hit that bumper stop. Let's see, there we are. Okay, and we'll go ahead and back out. You can see we've got quite the train here. If I'm not mistaken, there are 30 cars right here. Now, the reason I think there are 30 cars right here on this in this rake is because we have 30 of the flatbeds over there, which are just the regular flatbeds. And I've got 50 of the flatbed and 50 of the stake cars. So, the fact that there are 30 over there of the flatbed and 20 over there of the stake cars tells me that the numbers are exactly reversed over here in the storage yard. So that should be perfectly reasonable. And as you can see, like I said in the beginning of the episode, we had another delivery of rolling stock, so we should have a bit more to do in the coming running episode. Boy, that tells you how long this train is. So I may end up having to make some of these a little bit longer. So let's just go right in here to this center line. Since this is the one we've got probably the most of right now, I think. I'm not going to try and dig out my notes at the moment. But yeah, assuming that they don't derail at some point on that little line, which if they're going now, I don't see it happening. I don't see that changing at any point. But that said, I had the same assumption with the line over at the forestry, over at the logging camp. Because I had run over it multiple times before I ever started filming this series. Okay, so we've definitely got tons of extra room here. So I could see possibly getting all 50 of these cars in here if need be. Because you can see we're nowhere near the end of this and the locomotive's already almost to the siding. Now I'm going to check something. Okay, it did load in. Looking at it from back here, it didn't look like the tender had loaded in. Or it didn't look like the tender was even still attached. So yeah, we've got stupid amounts of room now for storage of these cars. So in the long run, when we've got all this extra room down here in the valley, and all of this is loaded up, we'll know that we've still got storage up at the smelter and the iron ore mine and all of that. Bonk. Okay. So we got plenty of room. We definitely have plenty of room. So we're going to back out here. Yeah, that's 30 cars and we've still got all that space. We could probably get another 10 or 15 in there. So it's not 50 cars minimum, but it's pretty dang close. And that's a pretty good guesstimate for not really having a good idea of what we what we were actually doing in terms of length. See, I don't even have 50 full cars length of storage in the outbound for the northbound, and that we're going to need we know that we're going to need um, trains that are easily 30 cars long going north. So we're going to come out here, and we're going to pick up the shorter stretch here. And yeah, during the next running episode, we're not going to be sorting these out. I'm going to wait until that's all filled up again. I want to have as much rolling stock as possible. But we are going to move what we've got here into the holding yard. We're going to get those off of the inbound. As nice as it is to look at them and see them side by side like that on the inbound, they're taking up space there that we kind of need later on, that we're going to need later on. So it'd be better just to get them out of the way. Now, as much as I wanted to have the extra storage over here, I got to looking at it. You know, I think I said this a little bit earlier in this episode. I got to looking at it, and it would have just been a convoluted mess over there, and it wouldn't have given us nearly the amount of space that we needed versus the nice, clean uh, storage area that we've got now. Now, admittedly, like I said, I wanted it to be a little bit closer to the hump, but it didn't work out like that, and I don't see it being, you know, that major of a problem that it didn't. I think the aesthetics of it are kind of not perfect, but on that same note, I don't think they really needed to be. I think what we've got here is good enough, and I think um, in terms of actual workability, I think this yard is perfectly fine. It's not as compact as I would like it to be, but we're working with the terrain too. So while we're doing that, I'm going to move this over to this one, and we'll put it on the next longest one. Yeah, we'll just do that. Actually, we'll move it over here and do that. And then once we get these put in, I'll put Eleanor back in the roundhouse, and we will work on getting the Inglenook yard set up. And that's gonna be a thing in and of itself, because there's very strict limitations for what we've got. So we're gonna need to use Inglebrook and his dedicated train to make it all happen. So let's go ahead and get rolling here. So yeah, we're gonna need to be using Inglebrook and his train to make everything happen as we build it. So we're gonna be doing a little bit different. And this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode, depending on how everything gets cut. But I think it'll be something that you guys are going to enjoy moving forward for in terms of content. I think it'll be something a little bit more interesting than just the running or just the building episodes. We can do different Inglebrook challenge or Whoa! Yep, you remember what I was saying about the tracks not lining up perfectly? This one's gonna go a ways. So where did we derail? derailed right up here. So something jumped the tracks. Why did we jump the tracks? That should have all been... I'll bet you I know exactly what happened. I bet we have a rock under there. I'll bet you that's exactly what happened. We've got a rock under there, and that's just going to be... We're going to have to make that work. So, pull this. Yep, there's that rock. I missed it. All right. So we'll go ahead and leave that sit. And I will get these all re-railed. Yep. See, that's why I don't like leaving the rocks in there. I don't know. Half the time I can't see them. So we're going to get these guys re-railed. And I will get back with you here in a bit. Okay, that went about as quickly as I could make it go. So we are back. I got that rock took out. You guys saw that. But yeah, that's why I tried to delete the rocks as we go along. I don't care so much about them as I do the trees. So hopefully there are no more rocks in the tracks. Now I know I missed that one. If that's all I missed, we're doing pretty dang good. I'll tell you what. Now I mentioned this, and I'm just filling a little bit of time here. I mentioned this in my post-processing comments on the ATS series. At the end of the season, if I do not get any responses to the poll that I have on the channel here, I'm going to let that series expire. I'm not going to do any more of it. So, you know, if you guys want to see the ATS videos continue, head on over to that poll. You can find it on the YouTube page, and let me know that if you want to see it continue. I'm averaging, 8 to 10 views per episode, so I'm really not convinced that it's going to stick around. And that's no big deal. If it doesn't stick around, it doesn't stick around. I'm not gonna worry about it. I enjoy the game. I'll play it privately offline. It may pop up in a stream or two, but other than that, if it's not something you guys want to see, I'm not gonna worry about posting it. I'm not gonna worry about recording it. So head on over to that poll. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to see it continue into a second season, or if you just want to go ahead and say call it quits and focus on something else, because I can make another series about another game here. My whole channel isn't going to just be this one game. I've said that a few times. But yeah, just kind of let me know what you think, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I'm not really going to try and keep it around if it's not something that folks are interested in. It's not really too terribly concerning to me that nobody seems to wants to see it. That doesn't really bother me as much as you might think it would. So we're going to go ahead and put Eleonora back into the roundhouse over here, and we're going to go take out those sightings, and we're going to go grab Inglenook, get him fired up, and we're going to build him a nice little area over here that he could stay in for as long as this series goes. And we're going to do that in every map that we play. And I think it'll work out pretty well. Okay, so an Inglenook yard is a small number of switches that, for those of you who know, you have to sort your trains in a specific way as to get all of the cars ordered 1 through 5 plus the locomotive in order. So, for example, 1 or 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the locomotive. And the dummy cars have no value. They just take up space, which is why they're not numbered. And you can only move X number of cars at a time. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach everything up right now. We're going to go ahead and get Inglenook or Inglebrook fired up. And we're going to go ahead and attach everything. We got to wait to build steam, but we're going to go ahead and attach everything up. And we're going to take him over there. I will put in a turntable, I think, or a small loop. I think a small loop will be okay. Well, no, I don't think I'll even do that. I think what we'll do is we'll put in we'll just reverse him as he sits here. To get everything moved around the right direction. We'll just reverse everything. So you got all the numbers facing the back. That's fine. That's irrelevant as to which side they're on. Just say it's exactly mirrored. But we'll do the re-rail trick and uh, move Inglebrook around as we need to. But we're going to get everything hooked up. We're going to drag him over there, and once that happens, once he gets up to steam and I get everything moved over there, I will be right back. Alrighty, we are back, and as you can see, we've got our cute little train here, brought as far as we can up to this little testing yard here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to try and make this a little bit more compact. According to the diagram I've got, it's not exactly compact, but we're going to see what we can do. So to start off with, we want a right-hand switch, and we're just going to toss this one in so that we've got our curve. And we're going to come over here with our 1 meter ballast, and we're going to bring this out, probably to right about here. Now let's see. I don't think, yeah, I don't think we're going to need one of these, but we will see. Let's just take a look here. Let's see if we can't get that evened up. Because what I want to do is I want to bring, there we go. I want to bring the, let's see if that'll do us here for 2 of our switches. And it should, but I'm not going to utilize that. I think we'll be okay without it for now. So what we need to do, and I will try to bring up an image as to what I'm trying to build in post-processing, but basically what I'm trying to do is get a specific length to where we've got the locomotive plus 3 of the cars for our for the vast majority of our sidings. So basically our line in plus um, plus two of the sidings. Trying to think and do two different things here at the same time. Um, so our line in with two of the other sidings needs to be the locomotive plus two cars. So you can see right now we've got 8 here. This is specifically for the lead in. We're not actually going to use that. Um, we're not actually going to use this space here for anything other than what it is um, being used for right now. It's going to be specifically um, specifically used for our inbound. Basically, if we've got to take him out, this is for any reason. This is the line we're going to use. Other than that, it's not going to be um, utilized for anything. So I just wanted him there so I know whereabouts to put the first switch. So what I want to do is go in and uncouple 3 cars. So let's do that. I think 3 cars. Yeah. And so 1, 2, 3. And we're actually going to put a switch back. Okay, we're gonna bring the switch back. So I want to yeah. So right there. That switch right there, which we actually need to turn around, so we'll do that. Right hand, left hand, we'll do that. Okay, so that will be our that right there will be our lead in. So we need to figure how much of the locomotive or how far forward we need to move it. So let's go right to there. Okay. Oops. We will grab our rails here. And we will go specifically to the end. There, that's what I want. We will go specifically to the end of these 3 cars. So right there plus that. That's actually a little bit too long, but we're not going to get another car in. So let's go ahead. We're actually not going to get another car in. Looks like we got a dust storm moving in. How about that? So let's go to there. Oops, we don't want that one. That's the one we want. Yeah, we will not get another car in on that, but we will have plenty of room. So that's our first one. Okay. So I'm going to put in a stretch here for all 8. Or I'm going to try to anyway. And I can't even do that. See, we're making it in just such a way as we're actually going to have to reverse everything. So it's actually going to go over that direction. So I've got them here. So we're just going to utilize um, what we have hooked up right now for the time being. So I'm just going to make a camera, keys, idiot behind the screen. Okay. So I'm going to make that. We're going to go ahead and back him into uh, that sighting. See if that'll work. Okay. So let's go ahead and move our switches here. Boy, that was a quick transition, wasn't it? So I'm just moving him back right now, and I will be back when the sun comes back up, if I don't get backed in before then. Because like I said multiple times, I've only got it set to like a minute, so I think it's a minute on either side of midnight, so it's like 2 minutes total. So yeah, you can see we're not going to get another car in here um, to cheat. We're not going to be able to cheat. So that's a good thing. And it looks like the sun may already be coming back up. So, well, no, it's actually getting darker, but we can still see a little bit. So, now, yep, there's the morning sun. All right, so what I'm going to do is yeah, I'm gonna have to turn this switch around, I believe. Trying to figure out how to do this now, and if we do that, come back out. So that's actually going to be a three-way switch. Move it to this one, place it right here. Okay. So that's going to give us our way out if we have to get just Inglebrook himself out. But otherwise, it's not going to let us get all of our cars in or out at once. So that's perfectly fine. We don't need to do that. It's also going to give us both of our extra sightings here and our long sighting. So let's go ahead and do this. And we're going to go just to this post here. We're going to have to figure something out for that. All right, so I'm going to pull Inglebrook back out. And we're going to hook back up because I've made a mistake here. I've made a mistake in judgment here, so we're gonna have to do this a little bit differently because we're actually too far away from that, or not far enough away from that sighting, or that switch to be able to put that line in. Camera or keys rather. See, I'm trying to build this from the diagram that I've got, and I'm trying to build it so that I can connect it in, and it's not working out quite the way I'd wanted it. So you get rid of that and that. Done this entirely the wrong way. So okay, let's just throw in a switch right here. We're gonna get them um, switched over to a different point on here. We're going to try and get the all of this is temporary here. None of it's going to stay. We're going to try and get Inglenook or Inglebrook moved over here uh, to a position where I can actually put everything in. So let's go ahead and get rolling here. So I actually need to move out to this portion of the line right here. I need to just bring it out. Whoa, we're gonna derail. Oh, oh, that was close. Boy, dang it, we're not far enough. That was close though. All right, let's bring this in a little bit further. See if we can't get him far enough. I think this one will be okay, but I'm going to try and squeeze a little bit more out of it because we're still on the switch here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and switch. I don't know why those box cars aren't showing up on the map. It's weird. But, you know, whatever. The map isn't going to matter as much when we're actually doing these challenges. Because the yard's going to be small enough. Yeah, you can see we're going to clip through that. Bonk. Okay, so that's why I wanted to move it out here a little bit because we're going to have that problem on this line too. So I just want to move that out just a tiny bit more. Okay. So we'll go ahead and leave that there. I think we're far enough, yeah. And it looks like that dust storm's clearing up. Okay. We're going to move this over just a tiny bit more, I think. I'm going to try to anyway. Let's see. Straight track. Go to right about there. Okay. That's better. So that will work. Okay, but we're going to actually do this. We're going to make our situation just a little bit easier here and go one full switch length out so that it works the way I want it to. And we are going to need to move Inglebrook up quite a ways so that we're not actually on that switch. So Let's go ahead and get in, moving forward. That's causing no small amount of hell with those cars, but that's okay. We'll make it happen anyway. Had that dust storm, and with the rain now, it kind of looks like snow. It's not, but it's kind of what it looks like. Okay. So yeah, this is a little bit of a fiddle fart around type deal. So let's get this out of here and re-rail these where they need to be. Take the brake off. And we will get rid of that. Now that one, that car right there is just barely on the tracks, so we've got plenty of room here that we can mess around with. Um, that said, I'm actually going to bring this out. We're gonna we're gonna do this number here. I'm going to bring this out so that we're a little bit further away. Dang it. Because I don't want to be right on top of the inbound yard. So we're going to do that. That's not too big of an issue. Put that in. We're going to have 2 lengths of rail here. So we want 1. Nope. Yes. 2. Yes. Okay. So there is our connection. So we are perfectly far enough away. Let's go ahead and reconnect that. We've got all of our cars in right now. Wait a minute. I want another switch here. We want a left hand, left hand. There we go. Now we could probably do a left hand, right hand. Why don't we do that? It'll look a little better. There we go. Now that one's going to be our 3-car stop. What we've got here is going to be our 5-car. So it's three cars with the locomotive back here. So 4, I think 4 total. We'll make it work. We're going to use the grabber tool or the re-railer tool to make everything work. So I just need to get everything connected first. So we'll go ahead and connect this up. This is not relevant at the moment. However, when we get done, that will only have enough for 5 cars. And we can go ahead and put a right hand and left hand in. That will give us two more sightings of 3 switches. So we're going to put 1 more in just for our curve, and we're going to guesstimate here. We're going to just come out to our come out to the end of our switch, and we're going to do that right here as well. We're just going to guesstimate. It's not perfect. We just need a length to hook up to for our curve here. So there we go. Now, when we get this all finished, that will be 3, these two will be 3, that one will be 5, and that will be everything. So, let's go ahead and get back in Inglebrook. And back up over that point. Now we will take 3 boxcars and we will make that work for those. Oh, you sucker. Okay. It juked me. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to switch, but it did. All right. It juked me. It made a fool out of me. All right, so we're just going to leave those there. We're going to take our first 3 here. And we're going to go back up. And we are going to stop right at the very edge here of the switch. Now, I'm not saying this first switch here. No, that's not going to be the case. We're talking the one switch with the 2 short sidings on it. We're going to stop right there. So I don't want any chance for cheating. Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah, okay. So these can only have 3, these 2 switches here can only have 3 pieces of rolling stock on them. So they don't even get the luxury of having the locomotive on them. Dang it, I messed that up. Oh well. We will throw that switch back in for the curve. Okay. So we are not going to have any kind of cheating. That's going to be as far as we can go. So we want right to there. We come up here, right to about there. And we'll put this in. And that looks like it's about too long, but not really going to get another car in there. That said, we'll shorten it up because we only want 2 in there. Thinking that's even going to be too long still. So right to about there, and we'll put our bumper stop in. Oh, that's still too long. See, this is the trick here, is we've got to get it the right length. So we want just enough clearance to where we can actually get in, but not be able to put a 3rd car on. Now that looks like it will just about work. So our idea for the curve here is not going to happen, because that needs to be about the same. Well, it can be about the same. Let's see. Let's do this number here. Okay. So that's going to give us just about the same amount. Two cars, two cars. I think. Or did we want three? Ah, shoot, we wanted three. Oh, mercy. I'm brilliant. Okay, let's do this one more time. Put this in, and that will probably be yeah, it's gonna be pretty close to being long enough. All right, so let's do straight piece to here. Let's do right about there. We want 3 and 3. Perfect. That'll be just perfect right there. Now I want to have the bumper stop line up as best as I can. So I hate the fact that this camera does not like to do this. This free roam or this free cam does not like to do this. So right there. Dang it. We'll just eyeball that curve. Okay, so right about there. All right, fine, whatever. It's going to be close. So there's 3. 3 and 3. All right. And then 3 back there. So we do this. 3 plus. Okay. So 3 plus the locomotive. So come back here. So 3 plus the locomotive. I'm just going to eyeball it real quick. And think. We're going to try and go back and see. There we go. Now I can actually see what I'm doing. We'll see how close I was on that. Yeah, if we're good, I will duplicate it, move the locomotive and the rolling stock off. And we're not good. Okay. Too long. So that's okay. We're just a touch too long, but that's fine. We can make a length here that is the right length. Yeah, we can make something that is the right length here by putting in bumper stop. 98. Dang it. think we can do this. I hope. No, can't do that. Dang it. 80. No. Camera. Dang it. 82. All right. Put in our bumper stop right where we need it to be. To keep us from any cheating that might occur. There we go. And we will move Inglebrook back off of the siding. Okay. And we will go and make it the length it needs to be. So we do not want to connect. We just want to bring it in close. Okay. And we'll see how that works. So we'll go in again. Oops, go the other direction. Now, ultimately, when we go to do this, we're going to be going the opposite direction. So the locomotive is actually going to be facing this bumper stop. We're not going to be in the direction that we're in. So where are we at? Oh, beautiful. Perfect. Okay. So now we need all 5 of the boxcars. So let's go ahead and grab those. But what we're going to do in order to grab those is we're going to re-rail them. Well, yeah, I think we will. Because we actually do need to... We actually do need to figure out exactly where they need to be. I think... Yeah, that's pretty close to being right as it is, so... Let's go ahead and back down. Hook them up. Let's see where we're at in relation to this point here. We actually do need to move forward so we don't cheat. And there it is. It's daylight again. See, that didn't take long, did it? All right. So that's going to be our maximum. So let's see. Looks like it's going to bring us right to the very edge. Yeah, just about to the same point. All right, so let's go ahead and put in our bumper stop here. Go into fly mode so we can have another storm, another dust storm coming in. How about that? Put in our next bumper stop so that we have an idea of where to stop. And it's going to be roughly in the same spot. And we're not going to connect anything. We just want to make sure. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go move Inglebrook off of the siding. So that we can get it built. Okay. And we may actually need to shorten it up a little bit. But we can do that here in a second. So let's do this. You gotta love how it cycles through. That's close enough. You gotta love how it cycles through the weather to such an extent as it's the same stuff every single time. Okay, so that's more or less the same length as the other two. So let's see how that worked. And if that worked, I'm going to call that good. And we'll go ahead and build ourselves a little bit of an area here for this all to be housed in. So, bonk. And looks perfect to me. We wouldn't be able to get another car in there if we wanted to. I mean, technically we could, so I may just shorten that up just a touch more. But, yeah, I think that's pretty good. And we can always just do this number here and put in signs so that it's an exact stop. So why don't we go ahead and do that? We'll go over here to our blank sign. Now what do we want it to say? We don't. We don't. We want it to be, can't see anything. So we want it to be blank. So we'll actually do that number right there. Now we'll put in a bigger sign so it's easier to see. That is not what I confirm. Why? Let's just do that. There. Now, we can turn it. Does it have the same thing on both sides? No. But that's okay. And if you can't read that sign, you are past the limit. Now I'd like to be able to put another sign here, but obviously clearance, so we're going to assume that that's the same. We're going to assume that means the same thing. So we'll put that one there. And that one there. We'll turn it a little bit, I think, so that it works better, looks better. And then we'll come down here and we will do the same thing. And we'll actually go back and do the limit again. And turn it. And naturally, we've got to make it right with the world here. So there's our limit. If you pass that, you've gone too far. In other words, if you can't read it, you've gone too far. Yes, we will assume that that rail post there has the same meaning when we go to do these for real. So that should be good. So let's go ahead and move him back. So that worked actually very nicely. We actually can do that. And we will get him turned around and get all the cars turned around to face the correct direction if we really need to. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a switch in here so that we can actually swap him over. Put the right hand, dang it, right hand in. And this will specifically be for the water and all that. So this will not be part of the challenge. Water and wood. That's it. That's all this is for. So that's there for a minute. Let's get rid of that. That put in. Bring this around. That. Okay. Yeah. Now what I suppose I could probably do is, in fact I think I will, is I'll make this a little yard over in here and have it to where we can store everything. So yeah, I think that'll be fine. And since we're so small, what I can do instead of doing that, let's see, let's put in a straight bit of track here. Get our wood rick and all that in. There we go. Dang it, camera. Good Lord. Okay, so we've got a wood rick there. Those automatically refill, so that'll start refilling here pretty quick. We're going to put in a water tower, and it immediately went from a massive dust storm to raining again. Gotta love it. Okay, so let's take that out, and we're going to go immediately back in right here. I mean, since all we've got is this little tiny locomotive, you know, we don't need anything spectacular. So let's do that. Don't really even need a turntable. I mean, that's just overkill for the locomotive. Just do that. don't know. How well we're going to be able to make this curve around here. I'm just trying this out to see if we can do it. Doesn't look like we can. Dang it. That's all right. It was worth a shot. What we're going to do is we're going to put in a little shed here. And we're going to do this brown one here. Helps if I have it turn the right direction to begin with. And I think we're going to line it up with this, but we want 3 tracks, so right about, well, let's put it right in the middle here. Get it lined up. There we go. We want 3 tracks. So there we go. All right, now let's put this, or let's make this a 3-way. Put it right there. Okay. So we will go in with a dummy switch here, which is not going to give us what we want, but we will actually make this a little bit longer. We'll put in another, we'll make it work, that is to say. And the reason we want 3 tracks is because we've got the locomotive plus 2 types of consists, so we just want them all in the same thing here. And the only reason I'm putting those switches in is for the curvature, and we can get them all lined up correctly. So let's straighten all that out. Bring it out a ways. You gotta love minor things like that. Not being able to see through this, for instance. So we'll take that. Come around this side. Put this in. And it'll all be the same length. Now let's go ahead and get rid of these 2 switches, which are only there for our length or our curvature. And bonk. And the bonk. Okay, so we have that. We don't really have a good way to turn our locomotive around, but that's not going to be relevant here in a little bit. Now the reason I deleted that and I'm now putting it back in is I want this switch to be more or less covered. So we'll do that, and we'll come up here and do another one after we get these bumper stops put in. Now we're going to put this one in lined up with the bumper stops. I hope. hope is that I can make it line up fairly close. All right, so that's not going to work. Too far away. I can't see what I'm doing. I need to actually get rid of this tree here and this tree here. Let's try and make this work. I'm trying to get this right, and as you can see, having to work from the opposite angle of where I'm at, or the opposite side of where I'm at, just is not easy enough. It's not particularly easy. So we're actually going to come out here just a touch past it. Turn that back up so I can go around and do the other one. Oy. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. It's one of those deals where now I've got to line it up. There we go. Now I've got to line it up, make it right. And if it's not perfectly right, it's not going to look good, naturally. And we may even run into some clearance issues. However, I think that will work. Think that'll work. I think I know we can't do one more, but that should be enough. I think that'll be fine. So let's go and grab Inglebrook here real quick. Get him pulled forward over the switch. I love how none of those seem to be on the rails, but whatever. Okay. So let's go and grab our... Thank you. Go and grab our flatbed, sir. Or our single plank wagons, depending on what part of the world you're from. And that's what they look like to me. We'll grab those and get everything put in the shed, and I will get Inglebrook turned around. We'll get all the rolling stock turned around, and that I think will be I think that will be the end of the episode. And in the next running session, we'll have a little bit of fun here, test it out, and see how it works. But yeah, we're basically running him out of steam right now, so I don't anticipate I don't really anticipate having that much time to maneuver here, so we're not going to mess with him today. We'll just pull him in and see just how many we get in one spot. But ultimately, this will give us enough extra space to put in a few more dead a few more dummies. So yeah, we basically maxed out our supply here. So let's go ahead and re-rail everything where it needs to be. We're just gonna we're just gonna throw it in wherever. Get the brakes shut off. And I think that will be it for the episode. So if you guys enjoyed today's building episode, leave a like and subscribe. Let let me know what you think of it down in the comments below, and what you think we should be doing next, um, in terms of building things out. I can't imagine that uh, building the building on the yard here all the time is particularly interesting to a lot of folks. And once again, my computer has decided to stop recording just randomly before it was time. Now, what I was going to say is I can't exactly imagine that um, building on the yard and changing things constantly is going to be interesting for a lot of folks for very much longer. So, um, comment down below and let me know what you guys think we should work on next. I've got a few running episodes planned out, but other than that, as far as building, the only thing I've really got planned out in the long run is the oil industries. However, with that said, um, Patreon is still up. If you guys want to go and subscribe over there as well as here, I'd greatly appreciate it. If I don't get any subscribers by the end of the month, though, I am going to shut it down because, like the ATS series, if I don't have interest, there's no real point in keeping it. With that, however, I want to say thank you guys again for joining me here today, and I will see you on the next one.